Okay, so we're going to do a very simple video on how to use the rotate tool, particularly when it comes to cutting hallmarks into the sides of rings. Now, in a video that I'd done before, I think the video had the hallmark in the bottom of the shank. Obviously, that's not where you're going to want a hallmark, so I'm going to show you where and how to position that particular hallmark so it can be bullied away without issue and in the position that you're after. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring out a hallmark. So I'm just going to bring out my text tool, and when I click on that, it's going to bring out the text object here. So I'm just going to type in, say, rotate, and I'm going to change the font, I don't know, to something fairly simple. That'll do. And I want that to come out as a solid as well. Now the height and the solid thickness, I'm going to play around with that later on, so I'm not going to worry about it too much at the moment, but I'm going to hit OK to that. And in the looking down viewport, I'm just going to position that here. Let's just check out what's going on, yeah, that's definitely got to be worked on. So first of all, let's change that to the orange cutter layer. And then I want to use my transform menu and just a looking down viewport. Say scale 3D from one of the midpoints there. That'll do. End point is fine. Hold down shift and we're going to rotate that out to say something like that. Now let's just check in the side viewport. We're going to want to just increase the depth of that. So you can use your scale 1D, or you can simply use your gumball tool and just drag it out like that. That's plenty. That's way overkill, and that's what we want. Alright, so once we've got that there, we're going to go to the Utilities menu. I'm going to hit Center Object and just hit Center. That's going to take it right to the middle, right into F4. And if you have a look in the looking down viewport, you'll see that's exactly where it's sitting. What we need to do next is we're going to use our viewports here. Now this is pretty important. Some people, I guess, probably forget to use their viewports to their advantage. If I go to the through finger viewport and just use my gumball tool, and you can turn on gumball if you don't know already by using the end tool here in the info and settings menu called gumball, and just switch it on like that. Pretty handy tool to have. I'm going to select my gumball and just position that down. Something like that is fine. Alright, now I think in the last video that I did about hallmarking, I kind of just left it there, maybe just me being lazy or something like that. However, if we wanted this, rather than being down the bottom of the ring, maybe on the side of the ring here, then we would simply come across the main toolbar and click on Rotate. We have the piece already highlighted, so the center of rotation is going to be right from absolute dead center, which is F4. Hit F4 on the keyboard and then hold down your Shift key, left click, and then take your finger off your Shift key, and you can rotate this around wherever you please. So that's the way that I would do that. Now, let's just say, at the moment, go into perspective, we can see that we have rotate, this way. Maybe, what if you wanted the word rotate on the opposite side? All right. Well, all you've got to do, if we go back a step, is go into the looking down viewport this time, and we can rotate again. So rotate from F4, hold down Shift, left click, take your finger off Shift, rotate that around and hold down Shift again just so that you engage ortho, and left click again. And then again in the through finger viewport, go to rotate. Center of rotation is going to be F4. Hold down Shift, left click, take your finger off Shift, and rotate it to wherever you wish. And then continue on with the process that we used before. For those people who don't know what that process is, or who haven't watched that particular video, here is what it is. What we're going to do is we're going to open up our Tools menu or our Cutter menu, one of the two. They both have the Boolean Builder in it. We're going to bring out the Boolean Builder. We're going to put our shank as the cutter, and we're going to have our cutter or our hallmark there as the object. Now this is obviously only temporary because what we want is we want the correct arc or the inside arc there for this particular piece here. Now we definitely want to keep the cutter, because if we don't choose that, then it's going to get rid of our shank, which is not what we want. We're also going to select 1 by 1 and force Boolean, and then select do Boolean. It'll get rid of everything there, and what we end up with is a perfect inside circumference for our cutter. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select our hallmarks there, and I like to use the move function. Select an area, it doesn't really matter where it is, probably the midpoint there is fine, and then just type in, say, 0.5. So that means that I'm going to have this particular hallmark cutting into my shank at 0.5 of a mil in depth. Okay, if you wanted something less than that, you type in something less or more. So 0.5, enter. And then what we're going to do is hold down our shift button, and now we know that that is going to be definitely 0.5 of a mil from that distance there to that distance there. Once we're happy with that, we're going to pop this into the cutter window. We don't need to keep this cutter anymore. It's always a good idea to job bag it before you do this, obviously. And grab our shank, put it into the object window, and do Boolean. And when we check it out in the perspective viewport, we end up with something that looks like that. All right, so just recapping, always use your viewports to your advantage. Make sure that when you're rotating something, you rotate it from F4, and then just go through the procedure that you have already watched before. Hope that helps.